Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And I continue with Gabriel Knight 3, Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned, Blind. I was about to go in and talk to Mosley, so let's do that.
Get in here. I'm listening.
Well, I really did it this time.
I knew it. You did, didn't you? Did you?
Yeah.
Christ!
Ah, come on. How about some support here?
So what happened anyway? When she left here last night, she didn't want anything to do with you.
Well, it was an accident.
Right. You're the only guy I know who could accidentally end up in bed with the most beautiful woman for 50 miles.
What about Madeline?
What about Madeline? She's. You know, you got kind of a reverse rose-colored glasses thing going on. Must be your fear of commitment affecting your optical nerves. Grace is beautiful. She's nice. She's smart. She's funny. You ought to have your head examined. And besides which, I ought to break your neck for hurting her feelings. Did you get a look at her face this morning?
No, knock it off. I feel bad enough. I just don't know how to act. I mean, God, she's like my sister or something.
Oh. Well, I suppose you could try to talk to her about your feelings, get it all out in the open. Nah. I'll tell you what. Just pretend it never happened.
Oh.
Really? Just act like nothing happened. Try it.
Okay. I can't think of anything to talk to Mose about at the moment. Mosley must be up to something if he's carrying around his briefcase. Ooh, I don't want to see Mosley's briefs. Hey, the man's a pig. What can I say?
Well, I guess I'll be going then. Oh, the closet is open.
It's a supply closet. Excuse me, Roxanne?
Oh, Monsieur Knight, do you need something?
And I thought the French maid in Clue had big, feather dusters.
What? No, that's... Why would I even need to do that? How about no?
About Mr. Wilkes, you know something? I've learned to trust a woman's instincts.
You have?
Sure. So, what got you upset this morning?
Oh, monsieur, I am very afraid for Mr. Wilkes. This morning his window, it is wide open, and things in his room, they are not right. Usually, I find his nightclothes on the floor, yes? But this morning, there is no sign of them, and his razor and toothbrush, they have not been used. It is as if he never got up this morning, yet he is not there.
Gee, that sounds bad. Why don't you let me take a look?
I don't know.
Roxanne, this could be serious. Mr. Wilkes would want us to make sure he's not in any trouble.
I agree. That is why I go to Jean. But he thinks I have the big, imagination.
Personally, I've learned never to underestimate a woman.
Monsieur. All right, I will show you. Follow me. Please, Monsieur Knight, if Monsieur Wilkes returns, do not tell him I let you in, yes?
I won't. Thanks. It's wide open, all right. Creepy. It reminds me of my dream. I don't see any signs of forced entry on the window. That's as ugly as the one in our room. That's as ugly as the one in our room. The bed looks slept in. That's his clothes, but where's his equipment? The springs are a bit overworked, but other than that... Nothing in there but dirty laundry. If someone did break in here, they apparently had no interest in the hotel stationery. Doesn't look wet. He definitely hasn't showered this morning. The sink hasn't been used this morning. Wilkes's stuff is still here. Wilkes's stuff is still here. Those towels haven't been used lately. His Highness's throne. Hey, that looks just like the one in our room. There must have been a sale at the local Kmart.
This is getting me. Like, there's some kind of... Is this the shadow of the bed? Or is it some kind of a mark on the floor?
I'd better leave it. I doubt the dumb waiter factors into this. You have to be pretty desperate and limber to get in that way. That wouldn't do much good. The door's locked. The platform's downstairs, probably in the kitchen. I doubt the dumb waiter factors into this.
I'm pretty sure that there has to be something of value in here, right?
I don't see any signs of forced entry on the window. It's wide open, all right. Creepy. It reminds me of my dream.
Because otherwise, what's the point of even getting in here?
A diagram of what looks like the Earth revolving around what looks like a cross. Somebody needs astronomy lessons.
Like, I guess I'll inspect the the car that I missed last time, but that seems to be sort of a foregone conclusion by now.
I'll go get the Harley.
I guess I could check Larry's house. Is he even here? So obviously if I pressed him on some of the things I know, maybe he would crack.
It's Larry's office window.
Would he talk to me?
It's the front door.
I have nothing to say to you.
Oh, I think you do, Mr. Sinclair.
Perhaps you had better come in. I've learned that you were, in fact, hired by Prince James.
Good.
But that doesn't excuse your prying into my affairs. You've destroyed my cover.
See now, that's the problem with secrets and lies. It's impossible to tell which ones might be relevant until you dig them up and take a good whiff.
That's between you and Prince James. But I can tell you that you're treading on thin ice. This is a delicate situation. You might find yourself in very hot water indeed.
I'm getting confused. Am I supposed to watch out for thin ice or hot water?
Very amusing, I'm sure. We'll see how your cavalier attitude serves you with the prince. Now, what is it that you want?
Do you know Montreux, the owner of the local vineyard?
I know of him, of course. It's a small area.
Is he one of yours by any chance?
A Freemason? No. At least he's not Scottish Rite.
I wanted to talk to you about your bloodline manuscript.
How did you know about that?
I followed you last night and dug it up.
You what? This is outrageous.
I hope you can appreciate my motivation. I was in the room when Prince James's son was taken. There's very little I wouldn't do to find him.
I can't fathom why an outsider like you was hired in the first place. It's absurd. But now that you've seen my manuscript, I hope you finally comprehend that I am not the kidnapper.
It's not incriminating in that regard, no.
Where is the manuscript? You didn't remove it, did you?
I didn't think it was good for it, being out in that damp ground and all.
You must return it at once.
Yeah, I will. But it's at the hotel at the moment, though.
Mr. Knight, I suggest you bring it back here immediately. Because if anything happens to that manuscript, Prince James will be very displeased.
I will. No problem. Here's what I don't get. Why are you working on the manuscript here? Obviously, you don't need the Templar vibes.
There's usually one of us in the area, just to keep an eye out.
For what? Treasure hunters?
For anything.
But why you?
There is a certain opposition to the manuscript. The work on it was to be done discreetly.
And you figured they'd never suspect you'd work on it here.
Something like that. Of course, you've quite destroyed my anonymity.
Prince James implied that the kidnapping was political. Would the manuscript have anything to do with it?
It could. There are those who take exception to the idea of Prince James being on the throne.
The throne? What throne?
Never mind.
The manuscript promotes Prince James as king of what? Scotland?
No, it doesn't promote him as anything, per se. It simply lays out the genealogies. He's clearly the best candidate.
Best candidate for what? Are you talking about Scottish independence?
No. In our modern world, Scotland is a very small principality indeed.
England?
The Stuarts have vowed they'd never accept the English throne.
Well, what then?
It's not for me to say.
Well, I could keep asking him stuff, but I have the feeling he wouldn't tell me anything.
I have to go.
As you wish.
No, really. There's nothing down there but water.
Oh, I have Wilkes's fingerprints, I guess. Which I haven't scanned.
There's an awful lot of blood imagery in this thing.
But I've just been in my room. Obviously the game wants me to accomplish something outside. Not this way. Was that here before?
Oh boy, do they have a serious gopher problem around here. Would if I thought I'd find anything, but I don't.
Why not? It's clearly a fresh... Wait, is it? To be honest, because of the angle, I guess it's not a mound of dirt, it's a hole.
Oh boy, do they have a serious gopher problem around here.
Yeah, I guess in that case, you're kind of right. There's no... But still, it probably means something, right? Is there anything this direction?
There were buildings here once. There's not a lot of growth going on in this area, is there?
But there has to be... I don't think that hole existed last time. Oh, is that footprints?
That's a big old Wilkes-size footprint. Oh, shit. I found Wilkes. Poor bastard. They must have pulled him from his room last night, but no one heard a thing. How do they do that? And why Wilkes? It's from Wilkes to his publisher. He must have been worried about someone seeing it, so he took it to bed with him. Apparently, he was right to be paranoid. Looks like Wilkes might have been onto something after all. I wonder if that's what made him a target. Then again, maybe he just stumbled into the wrong neck of the woods.
Dear Mister, I'm happy to announce that everything has gone even better than I had hoped. I confirmed not only the existence of the object, but found a group of caves that I think provide access. I'll take a lot of pictures and maybe pop by New York when I leave here. Right. But I wanted to let you know that you can start obtaining the something for my book, organizing the something for my book. I think we should get it out ASAP. See, because there's a lot of snooping around this thing, and I want to see that they don't beat us to it. Okay, that's all of his blood, and he was made to kneel as well.
Either the Red Cross had an accident here, or I found Wilkes' missing blood. I'd rather not, thanks. I'd rather not, thanks. Knee indentations. Just like at the armchair. God. They held Wilkes here while they drained his blood. He wasn't exactly small either.
So it's interesting because they don't seem to be drinking it. They are like wetting the earth with it.
There are some tire tracks in the dirt. That's the car Prince James's men arrived in. Those tracks were definitely made by this car. I'd like to know where all Mallory and McDougal went last night. Maybe tire tracks like these would help, if I could compare the tread.
But how would I... Can I draw it, maybe?
I don't think I need to scan that into Sydney. I can't get enough detail from the tracks in the dirt.
Well, I can check the other ones. They should be clearer.
Mallory and McDougal could have parked the car here, but I don't know why they'd bother to hide it. It's more likely that the killers stashed it here. Maybe they grabbed Mallory and McDougal somewhere else and brought them here to be executed. I don't see any signs of a struggle in there. Don't think I need to search it. I can't get enough detail from the tracks in the dirt.
Maybe I can find one on the road? Like, obviously, they would be driving the road originally, but, you know, you wouldn't leave tracks on the road, especially such long living ones, unless it's a very seldom traveled road and you had some, like, you went through the dirt first and then onto the road, or like rode through some paint or blood or something else that would leave actual tracks. Wait, but I can just look at the tire itself.
Those are the tires that made those prints out by the road.
I'm kind of dumb, am I not? Would that work? Like that? How accurate? Because he pushed it against it and then... Like, how did he even do that? Like, I guess he did it on the other side and it's like a reverse. Oh.
Who's been digging out here? Wilkes was thumping here earlier. Could have been him. No thanks. The last time I went poking around in a cave, I ended up with hair on my palms. Looks like a cave to me. Should I just straight up tell the others that I found him dead? I don't want to talk to Mosley anymore.
Bonjour.
Hey. She's just hanging out, isn't she?
Wait, she has... Is that towels or a stack of papers? Like, did she...
She's just hanging out, isn't she?
Did she steal some of them?
I'm not sure what I'd say if she came to the door.
Or did she, like, what? Also, he was watching her.
Buccelli's in room 21. I'm not sure what I'd say if he came to the door. I don't want to talk to Mosley anymore. Hey, that girl's a worker, isn't she? Did you check out the Bloodline manuscript?
Yeah, pretty interesting. Where do you want me to start?
Wow. That's a lot of topics.
What's the manuscript say about the Freemasons?
The manuscript came right out and said that the original split between the Templars and the Priory of Sion was over the bloodline. The Priory wanted to support certain French families of Merovingian descent, while the Templars supported the emerging Stuart dynasty. I think it's pretty clear that the Freemasons and the Priory are still fighting over the same issue.
What's the manuscript say about the bloodline?
The bloodline thing is major. The descendants of Jesus are called Desposini. Their symbol is the unicorn.
Unicorn?
Mm-hmm. Supposedly, the horn represents the male phallic symbol, and the unicorn itself represents the fertile Jesus.
Well, no wonder the Catholic Church had a conniption. But is there any way this bloodline thing could be legit?
Well, there's no reason why Jesus shouldn't have married and had children, unless you believe any kind of sex is a sin. Personally, I don't. And you certainly don't.
That's just the line I feed Catholic girls, but go on.
Uh-huh. And it's the kind of thing the early church might have suppressed, if for no other reason than to make sure the bishops of the church had all the power and not the descendants.
That explains how it might be possible, but it's hardly proof.
True, but if it's all a myth, it's a very old myth. The royal arms of Scotland show a Davidic line of Judah, Desposinic unicorn, and the Jewish fleur-de-lis. So they've believed they were Desposini from the Middle Ages at least.
Is there anything more in there about the unicorn imagery?
A bit. You know all those medieval tapestries that show a unicorn in a garden or a unicorn being hunted?
Yeah.
Supposedly, they all represent the Desposini being suppressed by the church.
Oh. Did you get the impression that the manuscript was trying to set Prince James up for something?
It certainly went to great lengths about his pedigree. I guess the royal families find that terribly irrelevant.
What about rulership? Did it mention anything about a throne?
Yeah, actually. It talked about the European Union a lot. How any system of government ideally has both a parliament and a monarchy. You don't think they're trying to... No.
Position the House of Stuart as monarchs over the EU. Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're trying to do.
No, come on.
No wonder Sinclair is hiding out here.
Come on, that's stupid. Okay, the whole plot is majorly convoluted and weird, but what I'm trying to get at is, okay, I could get them trying to, I don't know, make up their own church and install themselves as the popes of it because they are descendants from Jesus Christ, or set up themselves as a monarch of some country that actually still has monarchy, for example, the United Kingdom. But it wouldn't, nobody would go for, first of all, the EU isn't even, it's not a federation, it's not a, it's an association of sovereign countries. Nobody, such a concept as a king of the EU is so removed from reality for most people that most people wouldn't even consider it because they would laugh at it. A lot of countries in Europe, they abolished their monarchies, so long ago that a concept of having a monarch, even in those particular countries, is already ridiculous. But I think, was this game made by Americans? I think so. They might have sort of a wrong view of what the EU even is. The European Union isn't like the United States of Europe. There are some people who think it should be, but it certainly isn't, and it was even less so in the 90s, because you could say it's kind of consolidating its power to a degree with how it influences the legal systems, for example, in those particular member states. But, what kind of requirements it puts on the members of the EU. But it's ridiculous. It's such a stupid concept. I don't like that.
I'm still not sure I see the connection between Sinclair and Prince James's men.
The manuscript did mention Prince James. It traced the various branches of the bloodline all the way down to the present day. It was obviously making the point that the Stuarts have the largest, purest amount of the blood, and Prince James is mentioned as the current Stuart heir.
Does Sinclair mention the Holy Grail in the manuscript?
The Grail represents the bloodline and a kind of noblesse oblige duty to serve mankind. But also, remember what you heard on the train? You heard the kidnapper say Sangreal.
Yeah?
The manuscript says the words Holy Grail were actually a mistranslation. The original phrase wasn't Sangreal or Holy Grail, but Sang-Real.
Sang-Real? What's that mean?
Blood royal, or royal blood. The Holy Grail is the bloodline, Gabriel. That's what's so creepy.
Wow. I wonder if that's what they were saying on the train. It's royal blood.
That's what I've been wondering.
Kinda brings the whole vampire theory back onto the playing field, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Guess what I found today?
What?
Wilkes's corpse.
What?
I found him at L'Homme Mort. Looks like they took him right out of his room last night.
Oh my God.
Creepy, isn't it? They were in the hotel. Weird, because I was dreaming about them. That's why
Well, how was Wilkes killed?
just like Prince James's men. Throat cut, blood drained into a pool.
God. What am I, cursed or something? I spent the entire day in the car with Mallory and McDougal, and then last night I had dinner with Wilkes, and...
What was his big theory anyway?
He had a seismic survey done. They show hollow areas, and he had uncovered a big one. It makes sense, actually, because I've been working on this riddle called Le Serpent Rouge.
Sure, you keep working on that. I've got some ideas of my own to follow up.
Fine.
That doesn't sound like a moped. Damn, it's Prince James. Where's the manuscript? I've got to get it back to Larry before he runs to his boss and complains.
It was right here. I left it on the table when I went to take my shower.
Ooh, don't tell me that, Grace. Grace?
Somebody must have taken it.
Shit. Okay, let me think. It's about time I pinned down our old squirmy friend from the NOPD. I'll get him out of town for a bit.
What about Prince James?
Tell him I'm working on the case. I can't see him till I've got that manuscript, or he'll have my head on a platter.
You really think Mosley...
Yeah, the bum. But do me a favor and look around here, just in case I'm wrong.
No, I think it's Madeline. I think
Give me
she...
the bike, will you? You can ride with Mosley.
What?
Come on, how can I keep an eye on the others if you leave me stranded? Please?
I don't believe this.
Thanks.
I think she stole it from his
God.
room. Which obviously means he stole it from ours, but okay, I'm Grace, you say. Am I working on the riddle? I kind of doubt that. I probably need to stall the prince somehow.
This riddle is fascinating. You can almost see what it's hinting at. I really want to solve it.
Although I can work on it a little, I guess. Possibly, maybe.
New email.
Temple of Solomon. Holy of Holies, 30 by 30 cubits, 1 for length of the temple. Sanctuary, 30 by 60, middle 1/2 of the temple. Porch. 1/4 length of the temple. Okay, so it tells me that it's somewhere over here in the top 1/4, I assume.
Nah, I don't want to write anybody right now. I don't need to print it.
Well, it would be helpful if you could compare it, but I guess I'll remember that. So top 1/4, you say. Do I have anything that needs adding? Not really. Can I work on analyzing this? I can. But first, let's also read the next part of this.
3 is the Trinity and the separation of the spheres. The 3 which are the 4 are the divisions of the temple. I began my journey in the shadows and completed it in the light. I had marked the site at last, there in the center of the most sacred space. At the summit of the mountain, the place stood out in the brilliance of the midday sun. It was guarded by the 3 knights' towers, the rooks, on the circuit of the divine horsemen of the abyss. I wonder if the Temple of Solomon was what the Templars were building underground. The rectangular shape on my map seems to match the temple diagram, but Scorpio says the divisions are important. I should try to mark them out.
Okay. So, do you want all of them, or just the most important one of them? I guess I'll go one by one. It's top 1/4 for the holiest of holy. Wait. Was it? Top 1/4. Okay, so the sanctuary, bottom 1/4. So the sanctuary is the largest in the middle. No, I didn't want that. Damn it, I have to erase it all, I guess.
I think I've got the grid part right. I don't want to erase it. That's it. The divisions of the temple. That's the porch down by Lebec. Then the middle is the sanctuary. And the third part in the north must be the Holy of Holies.
Okay, so it said in the middle of that, right? So how do I triangulate that? It's the mountain, I guess, kind of. But let's see if the riddle sort of progresses, or am I still on that paragraph?
3 is the Trinity and the separation of the spheres. The 3 which are the 4 are the divisions of the temple. I began my journey in the shadows and completed it in the light. I had marked the site at last, there in the center of the most sacred space. At the summit of the mountain, the place stood out in the brilliance of the midday sun. It was guarded by the 3 knights' towers, the rooks, on the circuit of the divine horsemen of the abyss.
So it's the summit of the mountain.
I had marked the site at last, there in the center of the most sacred space. We're ready to mark the site.
I guess, although, to be honest, the mountain is a little off mark, I would say. Because in reality, it's like somewhere around here. The actual, like, okay, somewhere around here, I guess. But it has to be the mountain, right? Although, no, but because I'm looking at the triangle, I should be looking at the square. So yeah, I guess it is kind of over here. It does check out if you look at the square. Like, not exactly, but still close enough for that puzzle to be actually very entertaining and very cool.
The center of the Holy of Holies. I think that's the site. It's on Mount Cardew. I'll write down the coordinates.
Okay, have you written them down? You have. Okay, I'll continue, but next time, because this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!